All these characters in this movie have come from layered trauma.
So you can either live with it forever, or you can do something about it.
Luis, you play Bob, and he's a new character for the audience. But I think that what's really interesting is that he's at war with himself, and we see these characters or heroes, anti-heroes, or villains fighting with others, But his biggest fight, at least with Bob, is internal, He has conflicts with himself. So how did you approach the character in order to play Bob in such a sensitive way?
Yeah, I think you said it very, very eloquently. When we find Bob, he is kind of shouldering this waterfall of grief and trauma, and so you kind of, when you're playing a character like that, you have to start by identifying it, where it's coming from. At what points does certain kind of uglier parts of his past rear its head, and what does that look like, and how does he deal with that? He has to come to terms with those things before he can do anything else that he might have bigger aspirations for himself, but those are really the first things that he has to kind of, those battles that he has to get through before he goes there. And so it was really just about kind of really being specific and articulating with Jake what exactly we were looking at with him and what challenges he was trying to overcome.
Yeah, no, and I think it's so refreshing to see a Marvel movie that feels this grounded, because Hannah Thunderbolts feels so direct and so objective, and at the same time it has so many layers. And for me, for example, the movie made me realize how sometimes the best way to help someone is simply by listening, and recognizing their needs and showing real empathy. So I would love to hear your thoughts, because for you as an actress playing Ghost, how would you like to explore that idea in the future, but in a bigger scale,
All these characters in this movie have come from layered trauma. What did we say earlier on? That we're traumatized, but we're trying to kind of exist in this world. And for Ghost, she spent so long trying to survive, out of control, having no relation to her body or herself or even her mental health. I mean, in the last movie, it was very much, there was no time to even sit down and even recognize where Ghost is even at. It was just pain. It was very violent, volatile, imminent death for Ghost. So yeah, in this movie we find it very much, there's a pace, so there's a routine. Is she happy? No. Is she just existing? Yes. Is a guard up? Yes. And she's very much relied on being alone, because that's the only way that she's survived, and that's all that she knows. With this movie, the experience that I felt, even playing Ghost, of the journey is, it's okay to rely on other people. It's okay to let your guard down and you forgive yourself. You are of value. You can be valued, and you deserve to have a family and to be loved, and you don't have to suffer on your own. You don't have to. And she found it with these incredible misfits of this movie. And as Hannah, that's a definite learning, that's a beautiful connection I personally feel as well with Ghost. And I felt that in this cast as well, it was beautiful connection and friendships and a bond of even doing this movie. So yeah, it's truly special.
I'm very happy with this movie because the MCU has been around for so many years. There's been a lot of talk about superhero fatigue, So, Luis, do you feel like this more grounded, emotional approach can be a way to redefine what audiences expect from superhero movies?
Yeah, I think that's what I fell in love with about them, is kind of bringing the humanity to the superhuman element of these movies. In so many ways, it is like our Greek mythology, right? Because we're dealing with these massive archetypes with these beautiful backstories that can span generations and generations. And so there is a lot of opportunity to grapple with some of these human themes. Marvel's done such an incredible job over the years. Obviously, they made so many movies, and so you have to get creative after a certain point, and that's an exciting part of the process, and the continuation of the creative process is everyone reaches a wall at some point, and then they kind of have to reevaluate and reassess, and then you know, burst through and plunge, and this was kind of a beautiful to watch them take the time to reassess, and to also like the faith in their audiences, and the faith in themselves, and their faith in all these awesome actors, that they can throw this javelin into the dark and it will, you know, hit a bullseye. I think that they have all the equipment there to set themselves up for success, and so it was an exciting thing to bear witness to.